Hello YouTube, vintage stereo collectors and restorers. I love simplicity like this, 3IF cans. I'm doing a little more work on this Royal tuner and I noticed something. I lubed all the points of contact, mechanical contact, and the front bearings of the tuner. Like, oh, that moves really good. Then I noticed the wheel, this plastic wheel here, is a little bit off center. It's actually quite warped. Still turns kind of okay. Every once in a while the string skips, which isn't a great thing. So then, and it's very, very hard to see, where the screw goes through the plastic to the metal shaft, cracks on both sides. It's like, uh-oh, that's why it's doing that. Here's what you gotta do with something like this. Maybe I can prop it a little bit so it's easier to see. It's not the easiest thing to see, I know. But I'll just give you an idea. Years ago I had the idea, well, I'm going to take it off the shaft, glue it, put it back on. Trying to get that off the shaft, you got to take quite a bit apart. No, not that big a deal. You might have to move the tuning cap back or this front plate. It will shatter. This is what usually happens. I had this, I was working on, it was a Kenwood tuner, like a KT, I don't know, 5700 or something like that, and same plastic wheel, and it had a crack like that. I took it off and it shattered. Just in the act of wiggling it off, and just went crack. Then that was fun to put back together. I did get it back together, did get it working. But it's something, it's fragile, it's dried out. Especially this one, there's probably quite a bit of heat. So I'm mixing just a little bit of JB Weld here, don't need much. And I'm going to leave it on because we don't want to make it worse. Just going to reinforce where it's breaking apart so it stays in place. I don't know how much use this tuner is going to get. I tend to set at one station because that's what all there is worth listening to around here. So I'm just going to mix this up a bit. This JB Weld has helped so many times. This is the cheap one that takes like 10 hours to cure, but once it's in there, it'll be like part of the part. So now it's going to be interesting to get it in there. Yikes. I need a finer tool than this. I use my solder pointer. What I'm trying to do is just get it and push it into that crack and around it. Just fill the crack. That's actually going pretty good. Try not to make a mess of it. Let's take a good look at that. That might actually do it. That might be all it needs. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to get, once that cures, and it's hard, I'm going to loosen that screw. Be careful not to get it on the threads. I'm going to loosen that screw and just try adjusting it back into place. Yeah, that should be, oh, there's a little bit, it's cracking down the front too. One of these things, you know. Right there, it's gonna be, that's why if you pulled it off, it would just split. It would break like an egg. Now that's good. So, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to put the tubes back in it. Going to change a couple of caps underneath, and I'm done with this one. But just to let you know, if you ever run into that, some of them, the earlier ones, have a metal wheel, a stamped wheel. That's much better. The plastic wheels came later. I actually came across this. It was a Yamaha tuner, like a Yamaha receiver, like a CR400, something like that. Around 1980 version, they have this plastic wheel, and they tend to have the spokes break. So what I think happens, it gets to the end of the dial, you know, you're tuning, you're zinging along with that big flywheel, it hits the end and flexes and goes crack. So should be able to use this regularly once that sets. I don't think I'll have any problem. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening.